Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the CWL Dallas Open. The next matchup on the main stage features OpTic Gaming going toe-to-toe with Red Reserve. I believe they're ready to kick that game off, so we can send it down to our wonderful casters for the game, Mr. X and Maven.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are hyped for this one. Coming in, I don't know what our expectations exactly were for Red Reserve, but they looked real good against Envy.
Yeah, and you know, the OpTic Gaming, they beat Tainted Minds earlier in the day, a game that we talked to them a little bit. They did not feel like it was much of a challenge, much of a warm-up for them coming into this one. So this is going to be OpTic's first real test.
It sounded like it was one of the easier series they've played in, which can that bite you in the sense that, well, maybe it doesn't stress you out early, but the same, it's not really that much of a warm-up?
Yeah, and I mean, you're coming in against a Red Reserve team who played Envy really tough, goes all the way to a Game 5, Round 11. So Red Reserve, obviously, a very talented team. We'll see what they can do here against OpTic.
All right, well, let's get things going here. Game 1, Red Reserve versus OpTic, starting off with Formal.
And obviously, Formal, he's been crushing lately. You know, some of the craziest stats we've seen in all the CWL, probably the best assault rifle player in the game right now with the NV4 in his hands.
Well, he's playing back bus. You see why he is so accurate as he lines up to Joe. Shani eliminated there with the two-piece from Formal.
Now, like, it doesn't even look difficult for him when he's shooting at range. And I mean, you've casted over his gameplay for a while. You have a great relationship with Formal. You have a lot of love for him. What does he bring to this team now that he's kind of becoming a leader?
Well, I think he brings in even more than he used to in the past. It was funny, watching him transition over to Call of Duty. And past that, he was known as kind of the cocky guy. He wasn't viewed the best sometimes. He wasn't the nice guy that you know now. And now, now that he's been playing longer, sort of taking over a leadership role a little bit with this team. And specifically, you've seen that come to fruition in Search and Destroy with him taking on that game leader role.
Yeah, I feel like he just needed to get a little bit more experience in Call of Duty before he can really display what he is all about, right? I mean, this is a guy who takes, second place is not good enough for Formal.
No.
It has to be first place every single time. That is the standard he's going to hold this team to. And I think now you kind of see like he is the vocal leader for this team, like without a doubt, and he's going to hold everybody accountable regardless of who it is.
Let's talk about another member on the squad, Formal specifically, really high. Talks really highly of Karma, what he does for this team, all the roles he fills, how smart he is as a player. Another thing that stood out, I know you and I sat down with a lot of teams to interview them, and we asked some, mashup type questions to get answers from players. Who's the best in S&D? Who's the best sniper? Who's the best at this? And when it came to who's the smartest player in the game, I think 5 out of 6 teams that I asked those players, they all mentioned Karma. So yeah, he brings a lot.
I mean, look, Karma, he takes a lot of heat sometimes from the OpTic fans, just fans in general. Doesn't put up the highest numbers anymore. Right now, like the flashy Black Ops 2 Karma or Ghost Karma, but just when you play against this guy, he is just always in the right position, always making the right play. That's why a lot of teams rate him so high.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more as he gets 2. Can't find the 3rd. But let's talk a little bit about Red Reserve when you're talking in-game leaders and what you're able to do. Speaking with them, Joe has been that guy. He's very good at kind of taking a step back when it comes to like mini-map or just abusing kind of cameras so he can see what's going on and kind of break things down for his player. He's been doing a great job. And coming into this, one of the interesting things I heard for them, and I'm curious to hear your opinion. You were a coach for a long time. You've competed at a high level. They said one of the toughest things coming in with this new team is a lot of the players had different callouts. It was honestly, it took some time for them to get on the same page just with in-game communication.
It's interesting because a lot of players like to use different things, right? I mean, when I was a player personally, I loved to name all the buildings like by colors, like just go around clockwise, either by numbers or colors. Like that's kind of how I remembered things like the easiest, like 1 going to 2, 2 going to 3, etc. But, it's definitely something that a lot of Call of Duty teams, they have different specific callouts for different places on the map. We can go a little bit talking about what's happening so far early in this game. OpTic Gaming with a lead. We do see baseball controlled early here by Red Reserve, but a pinch coming in from OpTic, so they should be able to take this hill right back. And
Red Reserve continues to play well. Europe in general has been lights out. Well, they've been really good. I know they've dropped a couple game 5s, but they've been solid in Search and Destroy. And Uplink's really where they've shined. Basically, if you're talking like your big 6, they took their first 6 Uplinks against North American team. I mean, a European team took a Uplink against Envy. You also saw FaZe drop one as well, like Rise Nation to Splice. Uplink has been very good for Europe thus far, but what's curious about that is coming in, speaking to Red Reserve, they said chalk it up as a loss for us, for Uplink specifically on Throwback. That map they have not not been very strong.
Yeah, and I think, Red Reserve, a lot of their uplink troubles will come because they're a new team just formed, and they don't have that slaying power like a team like a Splice.
Yeah.
So they form, uplink's not going to be difficult for them because they keep 3 of their 4 players. They only put 1 more new player in there. This is a team, Red Reserve, which pretty much is across the board a whole new roster. I mean, Shawnee comes over from the Elevate roster, and then you have Nile coming in from 3G and whatnot. So you do have a lot of changes coming in here for this Red Reserve lineup, but they've been playing very well in our online 2Ks.
They have. But back to OpTic Gaming, they're looking strong in the Hardpoint, which was, maybe their best game mode that we saw from them at ESWC. I know they were lights out in Search and Destroy as well, but Hardpoint has been very strong for them. Currently holding on to a 23-point advantage, but it's going to be Joe over the top to mid-map here from Red Reserve, trying to make a play. And I'm just curious if they can play OpTic tough. You got to think that's a big confidence booster, because OpTic still, maybe not with some of the top North American teams, but certainly with European, with APAC teams, still sort of had that fear mode, that God mode status where teams play them maybe a little bit scared.
It is, but you're already 0-1 in groups, so this match is so important to keep kind of your group chances alive, so to speak. And right now, OpTic Gaming, they actually push through that center hardpoint. They get the time, and they break the spawn for the next hardpoint. So a huge play there from OpTic. Now they're going to be able to get control at Barn. You see everybody from Red Reserve on the top side of the minimap trying to funnel through here to get the spawns back.
Well, it's Joe in from the back. He wins 2 big ones. Third, pushing from the side entrance. I think he saw him cross, but he gets the call in. That's Nile and Shawnee able to wrap things up as he tries to push the spawns out towards Courtyard, but it's none other than Formal. Opening it up with 1. Can't find the third there is Shawnee, able to shut him down. But props to Red Reserve here. They've kept it tight. They've kept it close, so they're continually in striking distance here, Matt.
Yeah, look, they're gaining points. They were able to break right back on Barn, get control with about 35, 40 seconds left, and they're doing a fantastic job holding this hardpoint. Now you see OpTic Gaming, though, on your minimap, coming on a pinch. It's going to be Karma coming from the back door as teammates coming through the side. That's going to be Krim and Scump. They're able to break the hardpoint with 15 seconds left. Should be able to take the remainder this time.
They're trying to rack it up here, extend this comeback a bit. Looks like the scrap time going to be going to Carmel. Carmel is they're going to find the final 5 here. Krim 6, though, on your screen, having a monster game, 17-9. I mean, everyone getting it done in the slaying department here on the side of OpTic Gaming. Whereas you look at the differential, just look at Red Reserve right now. Every single player sitting negative. It's actually kind of surprising the game's this tight.
Yeah, and Red Reserve in our last 2 2Ks before this tournament, they get 1st and 2nd in Europe, and a lot of the players in EU were very interested in how this team was going to play at this event. Thought a lot of their success online was strictly, they have great connections. They're able to do a lot of things online that they didn't think they were going to be able to replicate at LAN. But playing OpTic tough here in this hardpoint, a very good series against Envy kind of proves that wrong.
Yeah, they can push them both the distance. I mean, it'd be tough to start 0-2 in pools, but you got to feel good to play these teams so tight. But it's Formal inside yet again, finding a 2-piece. Third behind, not getting it done. The streak will end there, but he is 25-16, leading all Slayers on the map, continuing to show why he is having an MVP caliber year.
Now Scump trying to push this back bowling area. It's going to be a big kill if he's able to pick it up on Joe, and he's able to take him out, gets flanked from the side. So it will be Red Reserve holding down this back spawn yet again. If they did this on the first rotation, they were able to get the baseball early, was not able to take a lot of the time. Let's see if OpTic's able to break.
Well, they've got the blue spawn right now for Red Reserve, so they're going to continue to be able to flood. Joe, though, 2 massive kills there inside and out of bowling. Tries to wrap the edge. Just 2 more players from OpTic Gaming coming over the top. Formal the last one, but it's a 2-piece from Joe, then a 2-piece from Shawnee that shuts down the green wall, and the comeback is alive and well. Trying to tighten this up with 36 seconds remaining. If they can get this time, you're looking at maybe a lead changer, very darn close to a tie game here.
Oh, I mean, if you're Red Reserve, you're perfectly okay if you can get this within a 10, 15-point game. But it's going to be OpTic Gaming breaking there. Should be able to make some decent time back. But you see the relentless assault here coming in from Red Reserve. It's going to be Urban picking up 1, not able to get a second. But Red Reserve does have control of the hardpoint now. Maven scoring, getting very close. They're almost within 20.
And this is a map where I think we've seen some of the European teams perform a little bit better than something like Breakout, where you can use that flood mentality that I think has kind of worked for them in Uplink. You can fly at some of these hardpoints. It's not like a Breakout where if you lose 1 set of gunfights, you're talking 20, 30 seconds before you have another good opportunity. It doesn't put as much pressure on individual gunfights, more just on, I guess, consistent team pushes.
So Red Reserve can do a good job of just trading out kills here in the middle of the map and holding this barn side. They actually put themselves in a pretty good position to make this a very close game going down to the wire. I mean, right now, you look, They're still down. OpTic Gaming scoring now in the center hardpoint. This is not what Red Reserve wanted. They need to actually contest here towards the center, but you see OpTic, they push 3 players all the way through. They're able to wipe the board with Red Reserve. Now they have the spawns for Barn. Not looking good for Red Reserve.
Oh, I know I take some flack for highlighting Formal's performances this time, but 35 and 21. The man is crushing right now and helping get his team to the 200-point mark first here. Is OpTic continuing to hold top middle. It's Scump playing bottom window. He has that reactive armor to work with as well.
I mean, even I give you flack sometimes for the stuff you say about Formal, but I mean, with the way he's played so far in Infinite Warfare, it's kind of hard not to highlight him.
Yeah.
I mean, he has just been so dominant game in and game out, and I think the most impressive thing, at least from my perspective, is just the way he's turned into a force in S&D. I mean, we always knew he was a great respawn player, but his search and destroy, I mean, he has put a ton of time in to be a very good player in that mode.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the other side here. Yeah, who's kind of standout guy for you when you're looking at Red Reserve? I know Joe coming into this title, when it was the Orbit roster, we were looking at one of the top players in all of Europe. We thought he was going to continue, but we joked, he kind of the UK Scump. We saw some really outstanding performances from him, but right now, not really keeping pace with the OpTic sides. You see he's 21 and 33.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Red Reserve to hang in the slaying department with explosive teams like OpTic Gaming. You see Formal, easy 2-piece there. Both players line up, trying to look for the last one inside the hardpoint. Can pick him up, but you do see, I think Shawnee, for me, is the player to look at on Red Reserve. I think he's one that, you know, I thought the things he was doing on Elevate was really good. I thought he was playing pretty well for that Elevate lineup. I don't know if that was the right decision to get rid of him at that current time, but I think he's a player that can really develop as the year goes on.
This is a 20-point game. And look at the slaying differential. I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What is it? Is it Red Reserve doing something right to keep it this close despite being outslayed? Or is it a little bit of greedy play here from OpTic Gaming? What's going on?
I mean, you look at it, you get on the hill, you trade out the kills effectively there, you rotate a little bit early, you're able to keep these games close no matter what the slaying department, you know, all the kills and deaths says. Because a lot of these kills, I mean, OpTic, they can pick them up in the middle of the map, whatnot. It really doesn't mean much in terms of collecting score. And you do see Red Reserve. I mean, when they are picking up the kills, it's in and around the objective. That's really where they've kind of kept this game close.
Well, OpTic can actually close it out here if they find the kills. It's Scump doing a good job inside. Finding kills, also doing a bit of damage here with the assist coming through. And when you've got Formal overlooking you up top, and with the 2-piece after 2-piece, this guy has been able to put up. That should be the icing on the cake. And it's going to be 42 kills, make it 43 for OpTic's Formal.
What do you do? I mean, when he's playing that well and shooting this well, what do you do? I mean, oh, he actually gets both these guys.
Oh God, I'm trying to think of who. I think I was talking to, I want to say it was Arcades or Gunless when I was doing some interviews with the United and talking about kind of breakout players who they expect to have really big events. And breakout players, you typically talk more about amateur players or outside looking in. But I can't remember which one it was, but he said, no, I actually take Formal just because I hate playing against him. If you miss one bullet, you're losing. And that's, I mean, those are strong words.
I mean, I just can't remember like somebody being this consistent from event to event. I mean, I guess you kind of say Saints during Ghost was really good.
Like the second half of Ghost?
Yeah, event to event. I mean, Saints
Zuma, second half of AW was a real monster, and Scump, obviously, throughout his career, has been Mr. Consistent.
But I mean, just with the level that he's playing at, I think like you kind of look in the past, like just the disparity, like in like not really as much roles, but like no Formal, a traditional AR player a little bit further back, whatnot. Like the disparity between like him at the top and then like everybody else right now, I think is huge.
Yeah, it's been kind of insane to see, but you're seeing some highlights here from game one, and that was one thing that kind of stood out a little bit too. I felt like a lot of the kills were coming in flurries, right? 2-piece, 3-piece to kind of get breaks or hold the edge. But fantastic performance here from OpTic. Despite the fact they get the win, though, Red Reserve keeps it very tight. I didn't see the exact number, but they had to have outslayed them from somewhere 20 to 30 kills.
Yeah, it was a lot. But you do worry about Red Reserve in the series, like we were talking about. You know, they are not good at Uplink. We talked to them. They said when we get to Uplink, just chalk up a win for the other team.
But they beat Envy in Uplink.
They did, which is quite interesting. Retaliation, Search, and Destroy, though, coming up next. If OpTic Gaming takes that, you think this could potentially line up to be a 3-0.
And it's just, it's scary with the tear that OpTic comes off of from ESWC, going undefeated, not dropping a map there once they got into the winner's bracket. I like when you bring up this statistic, but I know you mentioned if you're going to beat OpTic Gaming, you have to do it early. It needs to happen in pool play, or it needs to happen basically winners round one.
So outside of winners round one and the grand finals, so you're looking at winners round two, semifinals, winner bracket finals, this team, all the way back to Advanced Warfare, so the Nade Shot and Karma edition of this OpTic Gaming roster is 31-1. when they have gone to the winner bracket final, they have never lost the winner bracket final. It's insane stuff.
It's absurd, really, what they're able to do once they kind of get into a groove. And when I interviewed Formal earlier, asking him kind of about the team's weakness, his answer was us getting in a groove before winners round one, which is just getting going, getting to the point where they feel that confidence, that swagger, they sort of feel like they can dominate, is what's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and you see the throwback Hardpoint box score here in Red Reserve. You can see where they kept this game close is over by Barn. That's really where they kind of tried to hold on a little bit. Every other hill, pretty much, outside of baseball, which you look at that, it's like not too big of a disparity. OpTic destroyed him.
Yeah, baseball, which I think early in the game, I like to consider that as sort of the money hill statue is how it struck me. Now I feel like you can just, it's becoming, teams are becoming a lot easier at flooding it. There's a lot more trading, a lot more back and forth. You see control switch so much there.
Yeah, and we will get into this second game in this series. It'll be a Search and Destroy. Obviously, we talked about how OpTic Gaming, they've impressed us a lot in Search and Destroy. They've gotten a lot better. Red Reserve, I'm interested to see how they come out in S&D. I feel like this is the game mode where this team can kind of thrive in. I feel like this is where they can be at their best, and they need to be it here because their uplink, like they said, has not been good. Although they did beat NB earlier, so maybe they were kind of leading us on a little bit.
Yeah, and talking to Red Reserve about, what maps, what modes they feel confident in, they said despite the fact that you think S&D would take a little bit of a time to adjust with the new roster, that's where they've been thriving online in these 2Ks. They've been playing very, very, very well in Search and Destroy. They feel that's their strongest game mode. It's do or die here, kind of when you think about it, for their chances of being top 2 in the pool, and then also in this series if they can't take this game too.
Yeah, a lot on the line here for Red Reserve going into game number 2. I'm going to be looking on the side of OpTic Gaming, though, how Formal plays. Obviously, we talked about how good he's been in Search and Destroy, but I'm interested to see how Scump and Crim play in this S&D. I feel like those two guys, they have a lot of eyes on them coming into this event.
They certainly do, but we're getting locked and loaded. Now off to the races here for our first round of Game 2. If you're just joining us, OpTic Gaming takes the hard point. It's now Red Reserve looking to bounce back. We're on with Joe.
He's going to have the E-Rad in his hands coming right down the hotel hallway, so they're able to take advantage of Formal peeking out, trying to take that player out at the end, pick up that early first blood.
And talking to some of the teams just about what we might see a little bit different this weekend, a lot of people highlighting the E-Rad. It's become, better and better, whether it's been a buff to the gun or changes to others that's made it a little bit more viable. And you heard talks during scrims that Scump might start finally using the E-Rad more and more. He seemed hesitant to do that early in the game.
Yeah, it just makes way too much sense for him to have the E-Rad in his hands. We have not seen it thus far in this match, but I do expect you to see it maybe in a Hardpoint, a close-quartered map. As the tournament goes on, it'll be OpTic Gaming, though, in this Search and Destroy taking round number 1.
Karma gets 2 big ones. We'll have a little bit of a streak going, and also the defuse. It's big, too. I mean, we highlight this time and time again in Search and Destroy. You saw 0 in the first series of the day. He got going early. It allowed him to get 2 camos in a Search and Destroy. Karma getting 2 kills plus the defuse, already working towards the halfway point with that camo is very, very big.
Camo is such a powerful ability in all game modes, but definitely S&D. I feel like you can get into a position, you can catch 2 players off guard. It's just a real game changer.
Well, they're looking to hit mid-heavy, and they're pushing the steps. Nades in, first kill for Karma as he continues the streak. Maybe a 4th in the steps. Teammates able to pick that up. Checking bedroom window. That's Joe. Sees nades flying in. Up close and personal is Scump. Urban, pal, you're by yourself in a 1v3, and he's got to work some magic.
So that bothers me a little bit, that push, from the standpoint that if you're going to commit to going down the stairs, as soon as the first guy dies, you need to commit to it. You can't just all run away. You pretty much just give one guy up for nothing. It's now Urban in the 1v2 knows where both players are, able to get one.
Ooh, that was, I don't know if Karma was thinking to go back towards steps or maybe he was looking the other way high up on a wall run, but that was awkward for a moment.
That was weird.
Oh, yeah, he was just like he was on the wall run, getting up to a better angle. Gave Urban a chance, though. The timing almost ended up being terrible there for OpTic, but Urban comes up just a little bit short.
Urban has another, second, maybe? And he's able to locate Karma. Don't know if he takes him out, but still very close around there. But OpTic Gaming, nonetheless, takes it to go up 2-0.
All right, well, let's see if they can keep it going or if Red Reserve can turn it around. Now on offense, Urban on your screen. Teammates nading out over the top, but it's going to be defensive Scump here. You can see on the mini-map, there's a lot going on at Plat. Just trying to find an angle here. He's working with Formal inside. Formal going to be the first to drop. Scump now trying to back him up, maybe trade out the kill. Does have it, not able to do so. 2 players down for OpTic Gaming. Now it's going to be on Karma and Crim6 to try and lock it down. Shani very tagged. Crim does find a kill. You give yourself an opportunity, maybe if you're able to take out one there, but now it's a reversal of roles. You saw Urban's attempted 1v3. Now you've got it coming in for Crim.
And they know exactly where Krim is. You see, it's going to be Urban just running on this wall run here, trying to catch Krim off guard, and he's going to be able to take him out as Krim, they knew the position he was in, they knew where he needed to come from. Urban gets into a spot where he's able to just watch that lower wall run on the bridge, spot where we see a lot of players go to. He's able to take out Krim.
You just got to keep in striking distance. They were able to do that in the hard point. We're never able to kind of overcome that hump and take the game, but they played them tough down the stretch. It's a big difference when you're looking at that scoreboard, 2-1 versus 3-0. Getting one on the board, giving yourself a chance here to fight back.
Now we'll see OpTic Gaming on the offensive side here, how they decide to break off. A lot of teams like to stack over towards the B site. That's what you're going to see from Red Reserve on the defensive side of things. They push all the way down, straight through. So now if you're Red Reserve, you have to know where the push is coming from OpTic. You need to rotate early.
So OpTic's going to get the free plant. The question is, can Scump or Krim basically get one on the transition? You'll see Urban should be interacting, I thought, with Krim in a moment, but as he wraps around, he actually gets in behind him, can't tag him with the shots. Krim's still alive. He's got some help there to go as well. He might get baited into this. No, he's able to find Karma actually with the headshot up above. It's Krim trying to answer back. He's able to trade it now. Krim in a 1v2.
He has to go make a play for the bomb here, Maeve. He's going to be able to take out Joe, but a little bit too late. Shawnee was sitting on the bomb, didn't want to give that one away. But Krim right there in a very difficult position. Can't just run out challenge on the bridge. He would get taken out. They were just trying to come down there through with no cover. They just do a nice job putting Shawnee on bomb right away. Yeah,
as soon as Formal dies in the back and they get the call out that Krim's the last remaining player on the opposite side of the bridge, you know you've got time to stick it there. So heads up play from Red Reserve as they're able to get it done. Krim's been in a couple tough spots, but that time not able to get it done. Now we're going to have offense for Red Reserve, and they look like they want to hit it hot and heavy up mid-map.
Yeah, we're getting close to some abilities on the board. You have Karma very close to that camo, so we'll see if he's able to earn that when he decides to pop it. Should be a game changer in OpTic's favor, but the bomb going to be going down at the B site. Let's see how OpTic Gaming decides to take it back.
Well, they're going to have to deal with Joe, who's in a nice spot here to deal with Platt and with Window. Gets the first, but it will be traded out. It's not going to be Urban and Shawnee trying to make a play. Urban left by himself. He's able to gun one, now two left. He almost clutched the 1v3 before. Can he do it? The answer is no. That's Formal's K-Bar coming through to close the doors. Then the salute from Crim6.
That's your favorite part of the game, right?
Oh, yeah, I love it. The salute is literally my favorite thing.
It's a pretty cool new feature, but
it absolutely is.
Niall getting off to a slow start. Same with Shawnee, 0-4 and 1-3 combined. It's really been Joe and Urban keeping Red Reserve in this game, too. It's a big one for Red Reserve. Trying to, I don't want to say kind of keep their hopes alive, but you expect if OpTic Gaming is able to take this, the Uplink is not one you would favor Red Reserve in.
No, and even though I would say Uplink might not be the strongest of OpTic's game modes, it's still very, very strong. But Karma now is with camo. He's going to be pushing aggressively up mid-map. You saw him find a kill with a nade in a similar fashion in an earlier round. He's going to peek the steps there, but we'll swap over to Urban, who's hitting the flank quickly, and there's a one bullet and a melee to the face of Crim6.
Yeah, now Red Reserve, they have control of this top plat area, and that's exactly what they want to do here, but Formal coming from behind, picks up 2v2. He's going to jump down. Karma takes out one. He takes out the last player. Just like that. It looked like Red Reserve had the advantage, and OpTic Gaming just storms right back.
Yep, Formal picks up 3. You see the smile from Karma there at the end. The duo gets it done, and the final victim will be Niall. Is OpTic looking to close the door on this game 2. Niall and crew gotta bounce back.
Yeah, and that is one that Red Reserve needs to win. They get first blood, they get control of top plat. They have 2 players in position, and Formal just comes from behind, takes both players out.
Okay, you take a look at the stats there, see who's going off. On the opposite end of it, Niall having to turn it around. We've highlighted his struggles here early in this one. But yet again, it's Karma finding a first blood. He's found several in this game 2, search and destroy. He does so much for this team, Matt.
Seems like he has a great grasp of the game. As you see, he's just running through the opponents as Krim running with him. It's going to be Shawnee, the only player up here for Red Reserves. These 2 players in front of him, not the position you want to be in, as OpTic Gaming moves 1 round away from taking game number 2.
That was not a competitive round. That was basically OpTic Gaming bullying their opponents as they just fly at them. Karma opens things up, and Shawnee left with nothing to do. 1 round away down from a 2-0 advantage in the series. You see just a look of despair kind of across the face of many members on Red Reserve. It's just nothing seems to be going right. It's got to be getting a bit frustrating.
Now, OpTic Gaming on a tear the last 2 events, Maeve. I mean, what'd they go in pool play at ESWC? They were undefeated, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last time they
lost a series. Was the finals to E United at Atlanta?
Yeah, if we're talking LAN, yeah.
Yeah, you're talking LAN. So it's been a very long time. They had a dominant winter bracket run at ESWC, and just like that, Red Reserve again, they open up with 2 early kills, and then OpTic Gaming answers back with 3 of their own. It's going to be a 1v1, and that is going to be it. It's going to be Crim, I believe, in your final kill cam as OpTic Gaming takes S&D 6-2.
Well, it's going to be interesting because so far, at least with the first series that OpTic had and the way this one is looking, you could go into cruise control a little bit. You have a big matchup tonight in prime time against Envy, so you can't afford any kind of letdowns. Not that I'm seeing that at all, as they just hammered them in the game too, but you haven't had anything kind of replicating a close game, any kind of test yet.
No. And I don't know how that series with Envy would turn out, because Envy had a close game with Red Reserve, and you see OpTic just kind of picking Red Reserve apart, although I know Envy's first match, both teams starting to get going. Can't really judge Envy off of that one, but Envy not getting a great warm-up probably against Tainted Minds right now, who OpTic kind of handled with these two.
Yeah, and Tainted Minds in this group, it's tough. You know, speaking with them, they were utterly demoralized after what happened at Sydney, you know, kind of throwing away that final against Mind Freak. You know, talking to those guys, honestly, it sounded like they hadn't been scrimming as much because there wasn't the motivation there. Just the guys like kind of reliving that at night, just thinking about that terrible moment that happened to them. You didn't give them a strong chance in that pool to begin with, but it was almost impossible.
Yeah, it's tough for a team like Tainted Minds, you know, to kind of get in that right mindset, you know, especially knowing they have to have a great performance here, you know, regardless of what Mind Freak does to make it to the Global Pro League. But still, now, OpTic Gaming up 2-0 in this series against Red Reserve, going into the Uplink. Do you see any other outcome than OpTic Gaming winning this one?
How can you, with Red Reserve saying they struggle in Uplink? If I had to pick a mode where you may steal one from OpTic, that might be it right now. I was talking to Formal and Scup outside about why we think that EU teams have been doing well in Uplink, and he said honestly they're not selfish. You know, they're willing to throw the drone forward and make the plays. But guys, before we get into the game 3 and see if Red Reserve can bounce back, we have a quick break.
Shot is getting the job done. OpTic Gaming 5 points away. It's going to be Crim putting in some nice shots, and that's going to be it. OpTic Gaming!
OpTic Gaming is the best team in the game. This event in 2017 will be 24 months this team has been together. That is absolutely unheard of in Call of Duty. It includes 4 of the most talented players in the game, and when they're on point, there's no stopping them.
They've got veteran leadership, they've got the gun skill and raw talent, and overall, they've got the experience they need in every scenario. Long losers bracket runs now in Atlanta, major championship victories. You've got Crim6 going for his 30th major title. They've refound their identity, they're now back in shape, and I'm excited for the future for OpTic Gaming.
Who's the MVP for this team? It's got to be Formal. The guy's an absolute monster. I think he's currently the best in the game when looking at Infinite Warfare. It's the stats, it's the leadership. He's the perfect player.
OpTic, in the beginning of Infinite Warfare in the CWL 2017 season, yes, they had some faults, but they went undefeated in Hardpoint at ESWC, only dropped 1 search and destroy at ESWC, and now they look like they're back in form.
The beast has been awoken. The community doubted him, casters doubted him, but now you have 4 of the most talented players in the game, firing on all cylinders, playing to their true potential, and when they're on this form, they're terrifying.
You know, it's interesting watching that, and then after speaking with, Formal kind of asking what, weaknesses, strengths. The one strength that he put down, the weakness was kind of getting started, right? Getting the winners bracket round 1 in a groove. The strength was basically, if we are on point, if we are playing well, no one can touch us.
Oh, I agree with him 100%. I think the only thing that could potentially derail this OpTic team is whether they're committed enough or whether they keep practicing, stay on the grind, because everybody throughout the year is going to be putting a ton of time into this game, ramping up to the Pro League and then COD Champs. It's just whether they put the time in or not. I think that's the only thing that could hold this team back.
Well, it's interesting because I think they're so skilled that it can be a bit of a curse in the sense that when I think back to last year, and this year, you get by on skills so much. You don't always have to play maybe perfect Call of Duty because you're so talented, right? You just don't need to. And it leads to unintentional maybe laziness or complacency kind of because you're winning. You're like, oh, what do we need to change? We're winning. But then you saw at the end of Black Ops 3, I thought Envy was the better team. I thought they were better at Call of Duty.
They were.
Were they better slayers or gun skill? No, probably not.
They just played the game. They played the game better.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just doing things that OpTic just wasn't doing. They just didn't adapt, didn't keep no grinding, learning new things, trying different things out. I think they definitely learned a lesson last year OpTic Gaming with their performance at Con Champs. Definitely need to be better, yeah.
All right, well, here we go. It's game 3. OpTic Gaming looking to close the door on Red Reserve as they've started out with a hot 2-0.
And something interesting on Frost is you're going to see a lot more ERAD play. Maybe you see 2, 3 per team. I think you're going to see a lot of ERAD play on this map. I was watching one of the FaZe series earlier. I believe it was against Elevate, and you saw even Clayster running the ERAD on this map. So you're going to see a lot of players running the ERAD here.
It's absurd. It's so good at close range. There's nothing that can really hang with it. Sure, you can find a kill with perfect K-bar shots or maybe getting the jump on somebody, but in a head-up gunfight against any AR, it's going to melt you. But look at this. They've got control of the base, and it's Shani and Red Reserve with a dunk here early on. Remember, they beat Envy and Uplink in EU. I know it's an odd stat, but so far just this weekend, they've been very good in Uplink.
Which has been the complete opposite historically of how Europe has been in Call of Duty. Formal, they're going for a 1-point throw, banks it off the right side of the snow, not going to connect with that. But EU, in terms of Uplink over the last few years, they have not been on par with North America. This year, they have definitely upped their game, though, in Uplink.
It's interesting talking to Bryce a little bit. And Bryce, he was saying, yeah, we used to just chalk it up to a loss. We'd want to know what the next map was when it came to an EU team in Uplink, but that has not been the case. In Infinite Warfare, they continue to look strong, but now it's OpTic Gaming on the charge. Krim tossing the drone forward, looking to get up here with the ERAD. Nades out, but they're able to find both kills, and now it's going to open things up. Surely you have to get points here, but coming from behind and stealing the drone, it's going to be Nile. He says, screw it, I'm out, all my teammates are dead. I'm running for it, and that's going to save points.
Yeah, and it's going to get reset mid-map. That's actually a huge play. Instead of tossing the drone off, gets it as far as he can, maybe trying to get like a cheeky 1-point play if he can make it all the way to the Robo Bay, but I know falls off the map, gets reset, and that could have actually saved points there for Red Reserve, so a very big play by Nile.
Yeah, I mean, that saved the dunk. It has to if you don't get it out there. He sneaks in behind, makes the play, and then by the time they get to it, they charge. Urban's up on spawn, and Urban finds a 2-piece, but that's now 4 down. You've got Karma flying high in your base, trying to find the kills. Ends up being more bait for Scump than anything, and OpTic Gaming gets a dunk through.
And we talked a little bit about ERAD uses. OpTic Gaming using 3 ERADs so far. So you have Krim, Karma, and Scump all running the ERAD, and you have Formal sticking on with the K-bar.
Well, if you're going to do it, this is certainly the map and mode combination to go heavy with the submachine guns. Urban, you just saw him right there, just evaporated with that at close range, but it's still going to be Joe with the drone, able to turn and burn one there with the ERAD as he continues to try and apply pressure forward. And again, they have OpTic Gaming's base under control. That's another dunk for Red Reserve.
Yeah, and OpTic Gaming, they're going to play this smart. They're not going to try and go back, clear the space out. They're going to go straight for mid-map, put the pressure right back on Red Reserve, and see some kills straight out in the middle of the map, but the drone ends up on the top side, and you're going to see it just being thrown down there. OpTic Gaming is going to just kind of reset the map here. They're doing a nice job recontrolling their base as soon as Red Reserve gets control.
Let's take a look at the minimap. You see where the drone is, kind of on those outside cliffs. You got 2 players. Front Red Reserve playing the top. Foremost trying to get inside the base, kind of a Red Reserve, disrupt a little bit as they're coming off a spawn, and that's it. That's like the most annoying death, right? You're coming off spawn, you're getting back to mid-map, you have a clear lane, then shot in the back.
This is going to be more points for Red Reserve as well. I mean, they probably could have pushed that in for 2. They're going to settle for 1. And right now, they've done a fantastic job getting into the OpTic Gaming base, getting control, putting a point on the board. The thing is, they've not been able to really rally these scores, so they've kind of come like sporadic over the course of the game. They haven't been able to get control of the OpTic Gaming base and rattle together, 2, 3, 1-point or 2-point plays.
I don't think we see that here as much as like Precinct, but you can. You definitely can, especially on the side pushing towards Cryo.
Yeah, it's very difficult on the side that Red Reserve is pushing, because when you get over towards that goal, it's just a wide open area near that helicopter, a lot of cover for the defense to get set up. But you see Karma, he's able to get 1. Krim trying to lead this push here for OpTic Gaming. And OpTic, they've been able to pick up some kills in the Red Reserve base, just not turn it into consistent points. And this one does look like you will see a 2-point play coming in as Formal picks up 2. And he's on a 3 streak right now, starting to heat up.
13-8 right now, leading all Slayers in the lobby. Actually, sorry, he's tied up with Urban right now, who's 13-10. OpTic trying to come back a bit here. 45 seconds left. They have drone in hand. It's going to be Krim trying to go around the outside, play behind a teammate. That's Scump that's going to be in front, clearing the way as he finds 2. The 3rd there in ice. He picks up that kill. Oh, that was almost all 4 actually for Scump. He just about cleared the entire team.
Yeah, this is such a difficult map to play when you're an assault rifle player and the other team is running heavy with the submachine guns, with the ERADs, and just because they're so in your face, I mean, you almost can't run the NV4 at that point. You have to switch over to the K-bar, throw some players off.
Well, how much does that remind you of like Vengeance Scump? L triggered with a sub on your side of the map, so when you're coming off spawn, it's, hello, sir. It's the best submachine gun player in the game. I'm liking seeing it in his hands again.
Yeah, I would actually be not too surprised if we see him run it on different maps. I know I caught OpTic during one of the 2Ks, and it was Karma and Formal, like just trying to convince him like to use it more. Like he had a great game with it, and they were like, Seth, like just use the ERAD. Like they were joking, like we've been telling you for months, like just use it. Yeah, please.
Well, the final kill going to come in from Shani here as they are holding the edge. We'll see if we can keep that uplink streak alive right now for EU's finest as they continue to impress here in Dallas. And just think about how close we are to having a much different result early on with regards to North America versus Europe. You have what Red Reserve loses in a game 5 versus NB Splice, is able to take a game 5. Who else lost in the game 5? Who am I missing?
You had Rise Splice game 5, and then you had Mind Freak go game 5.
Oh, Mind Freak,
not a European team, but they go game 5 with Cloud9.
So they've actually been able to clutch up in a couple, drop a couple game 5s as well. But there's just been some incredibly tight matches here in day 1. What's shaping up to be an impressive weekend. And again, not only is it $200,000 on the line and the pro points and the prestige and everything that goes with one of these major international events, but remember, LAN League around the corner, and that's what everyone's got their eyes set on.
And this is huge because it just kind of sets your confidence level expectations going into the LAN League. I mean, you have a great performance here. You kind of take that confidence, build on it, go into the Global Pro League. I mean, you don't know what a team like Red Reserve can make happen. They gain some confidence here.
Very true, but let's stick it with well, Johnny, I tried, but you cut an aid to the dome there as he falls mid-map. It's going to be Scump and OpTic trying to follow things up as the rest of his team drops. Drone is out and in the hands of Joe as they're trying to make a play here with the objective. Trying to catch him across mid-map is Crim6. That's a big kill to at least slow down a potential counter-attack, see if they can get some points on the board.
You do have Urban here on the top side of the minimap, and the drone is down by the bottom, so he's quite out of position here, and I don't know if OpTic Gaming knows that. If they did, I imagine they would do a fast push over towards Robo. But right now, you're allowing Urban to just get back into the fray. Tries to come from behind, but Scump's able to pick up 2. The drone is still down, and I believe it was Nile actually who was able to get the drone off the map yet again. So for the second time in a row, Nile is able to stop an OpTic Gaming push by getting that drone off the map.
And I was talking again to Scump and Formal just about why they think maybe the EU teams are doing well in Uplink. They just said it's just selfless play, just willing to toss the drone forward and get the kills. And sometimes I think with some of your North American elite teams, everyone's so focused on slaying and not maybe layering the drone up the map.
Sometimes I always thought when I was with Complexity, it's like, you play a lot of 8s and whatnot and just kind of like pick up games. Like a lot of those players are just playing for stats. Like, and sometimes that actually carries over into your actual team's gameplay. And I do think I've seen a lot of 8s lately. See Formal though using the FTL jump. It's going to be a 2-point play there. Crim puts it through. Not the Gaming takes a 1-point lead.
Shook the boots off a player there with the FTL jump, but like you said, advantage now. OpTic Gaming, 2.5 left to go on the second side, and what is looking to potentially be a 3-0. The pass is forward. Crim gets the dunk through. Now a 3-point advantage for OpTic Gaming.
Red Reserve, though, is set up towards the middle of the map to try and get this drone forward, and it's a big cutoff kill there from Scump. That drone looks like it was going to get passed forward. You did have Joe inside the base of OpTic Gaming, but they're not able to get the drone to him. It's a good stop there from Scump.
Well, let's see what Shani can do as he's trying to wrap ice and maybe get in behind a couple players. The timing, I think he just missed one, and then he ends up actually getting flanked. The assist comes through for Nile, but it's Karma at mid-map picking up 2. Joe tries to hit the overdrive and wrap through. Not enough health to get through ice as he gets cut down, and now another opportunity for OpTic Gaming to start getting moving.
Would you have saved that overdrive? I mean, he's the only one on that side of the map. I mean,
I didn't see when he popped it. If he was full health when he popped it, he was already a little bit tagged up. But by time, I mean, he
are you just going to run by 4 guys?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not likely. I don't know. Like, we actually haven't seen Overdrive make like huge plays like as much as we did last year.
I have some that stand out in my mind.
The Clayster one. That's
Clayster
really...
gets OpTic. It was Crim6's at Atlanta. That was really insane. There's certainly been a couple of big plays, but I think it doesn't stand out just because you don't see some of those first bullets really in Search and Destroy maybe as much as you did like last year in Black Ops 3.
Yeah, and you do see the drone being brought topside here by Red Reserve. It's Urban trying to wrap this one all the way around. He dodges some shots here, just trying to stay alive on this wall run. He's actually kind of juked some of the players here on OpTic. He's done a fantastic job using the movement, not able to get by Formal though. Does juke Karma off the side of the map though in the process.
That's Karma's bread and butter too, man. He is a wizard when it comes to these outside wall runs. We've seen some insane plays from him, thinking back to the grand final versus FaZe ESWC. He had some wild ones, but God, man, look at it again. You have a 6 streak from Formal, make it 7, 32 and 20. 42 kills he dropped in the Hardpoint. Keeps it going here. I mean, the respawn numbers, what more can you say? They're absurd. This streak's now at 9.
it's hard for me to remember a time where we just saw one player like be so dominant from game to game. I mean, usually like in the past in Call of Duty, like we'll see like players kind of trade off, like one team really like kind of rises to dominance, and like, you know, let's say like last year, like John has a great game, Apathy next game has a great one. Every game for this team, he has just been lights out.
Yeah, he's going to drop nearly 80 kills in the 2 respawns, and that's going to do it. Red Reserve, you know, they play them a bit tough there in the game 1, but the three-piece from Karma, kind of the icing on the cake, is they're going to shut it down 12-5, and that's a 6-0 map count so far for OpTic Gaming in their pool. They look untouchable.
And they don't even look satisfied with that win. It looks like just like another day at the office. Like they are just so focused right now on taking this event, just cementing themselves as the most dominant team in Call of Duty. They're going to be very difficult to stop.
It's interesting, too, to think of the crazy run they had to try and do at Atlanta. They didn't get any scrim time between, but you played so many maps that obviously that carried over to ESWC. But then when speaking with Formal about scrims coming into this, he said they've been kind of bad. You know, you've seen some of the frustrations about players and their internet situation. They've had a lot of issues, a lot of scrims where they haven't been able to complete. 2Ks have been a nightmare for them. So he said the scrims have actually been horrible leading up to this event. Like, they've been really lackluster. It was one of their concerns. I know they haven't been tested by a top team yet, but still, they're making it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, through their first 2 games, they have made it look easy. I do think, you know, with the game against Envy later, it's going to be a real test, and we're definitely going to see where this team's at this event. Obviously, ESWC, they were untouchable, and I think, you know, if they take out Envy in commanding fashion, you're looking at like a repeat.
Well, if you think about how tight Red Reserve played NBA, it goes a 5-game series. I mean, I know it's not an exact way to formulate it, but you think it is 9-0 in pools maybe for OpTic.
Like if A beats B and B beats C, then like, well,
Exactly. I know it doesn't always work that way, but God, they're looking untouchable, and it's crazy to think back just a month and a half, 2 months ago, where it looked like maybe they were vulnerable for the first time. I know we doubted them a little bit. The community kind of did, like, what's going wrong with this team, specifically at Vegas, and then they just go to another level.
Since Formal like kind of took over that in-game leadership, you just kind of like, you know, pumping everybody out, just being more vocal, they have just looked like a completely different team. I mean, Krim has looked like a different player, you know, Karma as well. You see him smiling there. It's like the first time I've seen him really smile like in an OpTic Gaming match since he's been on the team. I think this team just looking very different as opposed to like last year even, but I think in a better way.
Yeah, they truly do look dominant, and we'll see if they can keep it going throughout the course of the action. You'll see some highlights here from what they were able to do. What's the limit for OpTic Gaming?
There is no limit. There is no limit for this team. They can easily take this event with a clean sweep.
Well, that is it for OpTic Gaming. Guys, quick break. We've got more action.